Can I revive my mom's coating on her 2021 Hyundai Tucson with a clay towel, some iron remover, water spot remover, and a good wash, and maybe get another year out of it? Let's find out. Hey everybody, it's Ben and Beta, and today I have a video on reviving my mom's coating on her 2021 Hyundai Tucson. About 5 years ago, I added a glass parency coating to her vehicle, and in some spots, it definitely is showing its age. So I wanted to see if I could get one more year out of that coating. So I wanted to see if I could revive the coating a little bit and unclog it by decontaminating it. And I did that with a clay towel, some iron remover, water spot remover, and some rinseless wash. So we're gonna see how that goes. But before we get started, you're gonna see this clay towel from Clean by Pan. And don't get me wrong, it's a good clay towel. It's gonna be a clay towel like you see from most companies. Real good quality, and it worked just fine on the vehicle. However, this product I'm about to show you was released a little bit after that, and it would have been super helpful on this vehicle, and I think it makes clay towels a little bit easier to use for a lot of people. And that's the new quad fold towel from DIY Detail. So you can kind of see the difference here between these two. DIY Detail's towel previously looked like this as well, and Ivan had the idea that he wanted 4 squares of the perforated synthetic towel so that they would fold really nice and easily into 4 parts. A lot of people misuse these towels because they try to just use it like this and never fold it. And when you do try to fold these towels, they don't always fold perfectly well, but you definitely need it to be folded so that you're not putting too much pressure on the section when you're doing it. It's important that you do that. So you can see right from the beginning that it's telling you I want to be in 4 sections rather than just 1. So don't use it like this. Definitely fold it up, but right out of the box it wants to fold into 4 parts. So this would have been helpful when I was claying my mom's car, but it's going to be great to use on the Santa Fe and a few other vehicles that I have coming up on the channel as well. So enough about this clay towel. It's great, but let's find out if I was actually able to make any headway with reviving my mom's coating on her Tucson. So when I'm not here, my mom just takes her car through the car wash. So this gets quite a bit of abuse. Because this is Wisconsin and northern Wisconsin, there's a lot of salt that gets on these panels, and that often clogs up the coating. And I did notice the last time I washed this that it did seem like it was clogging a little bit here. But we're gonna see if we can refresh that today and just throw on a nice ceramic top coat and see how long that performs before I really needed to redo the entire vehicle. But the reason I wanna show you how to bring that coating back is just so you don't have to redo a whole bunch of work when you don't need to. All right, so before we get started, people like to sometimes see all the products that I'm using in a video, so let's check out what we're gonna be using today. Here's Rue. Welcome, Rue. Always joining us for some extra help. Thank you very much. Okay. Just as a reminder, I'm traveling to Wisconsin right now, which is about 1,400 miles, 1,500 miles away from where I live. So I either brought what I needed or I had it delivered here when I got here. I brought most of it though, to be honest. So we have the Ryobi automotive pressure washer, which is a nice lightweight pressure washer, and it works great for something like this where you're going to be on the go a lot. I did bring my active shorty gun and the lance and that tip because I just like that setup better than the Ryobis, and it's probably my favorite of the ones that I have. We're going to be using the Quivr line for both the beginning and the end here. We're going to foam it with the Quivr Rogue and the Quivr foam cannon. We're going to finish it at the end with the Quivr hot coat and see how that goes. The actual wash itself I'm going to do with rinseless. I will be rinsing several times in this one. I'm going to rinse after the initial foaming. Then I'm going to wash. Then I'll be doing the decontamination with the clay towel from Clean by Pan, as well as the iron remover from DIY Detail. I will be doing the water spot remover after the wash as well. I will rinse it one more time, and then I'm going to apply the rinseless the last time just for the drying phase, because I'm going to put the Quivr hot coat on dry paint. And the reason I'm going to do that today is I want to make sure that it lasts for as long as possible on my mom's car as a top coat. The easier way to do this though would be at the end and use this as a drying aid, and I would do it much more quickly. So that's how I'd recommend doing it most of the time for a wash clay seal for most people. If you're gonna wash your vehicle every couple of months, that's a much better way to do it, much more efficient, because I want the top coat to last for as long as possible and take as much of the damage basically from the day-to-day wear. I'm putting it on dry. So those are all the tools we'll be using for today. All right, remember that these videos do take a lot of time and effort to make, so please hit that like button if you found this even a little bit helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet for more videos. Share this out with anybody who might need to decontaminate their paint or is looking to put on a ceramic coating. Also remember that the code Ben and Beta will save you at DIY Detail on things like the quad fold towel, as well as the House of Rags if you want to pick up any of those products. You save and it helps the channel, and I really appreciate that too. Let's get back to the video. And then for those of you who are beginners, don't forget to always run water through your system, lay everything out and get it ready to go. Just make things a lot faster. You can think through all the steps first. So basically you're just ready to go. All right, so before we get started, we want to just see how the panels are performing, just so you can see the before and after of everything. So let's throw a little bit of water on here at this point. So we can see up here, the water is rejecting really quickly, and then down here, much more of a sheeting effect. And that could indicate that there's no more coating there, but it also could just indicate that the coating is basically clogged and we need to kind of get rid of that. But you can see it's performing a lot better above the door handle and also up here on the window. And we haven't washed it yet or anything like that, but you can kind of see that same effect down at the bottom. It seems like the coating is not really doing much of anything, but up here, it's performing all right, not too bad. I want to check a little bit just to see what it's like here on the front end of the vehicle. We can check that as well. And here it's performing quite well. It's beating up real nice. It's a little bit of time maybe that it's taking to kind of do that, but it's speeding up pretty well. And then on the front glass, pretty sheety there. So we'll see if it gets any better when we're done. So first step in this whole process is going to be to foam the vehicle, get all of the crap that's on there off, and kind of go from there. And for that, we're going to be using the Quivr Rouge pH neutral foaming soap with the Quivr foam cannon. Now, this mixture is going to be about 700 milliliters in here. It's about a half an ounce of this because it's just this crazy foam. All right, there you go, half an ounce. And you might even be thinking, boy, this isn't a very nice day to do this, but this is the nicest day we've had in the last 2 weeks almost. So taking advantage of that. It is actually a nice day to wash your vehicle outside because it's not too windy, the sun's not out, and it's not super warm. We're at about 60 degrees. So it's actually a pretty good day to wash your vehicle. All right, let's throw this on here and foam it up. All right, here we go. Remember, this is only a half an ounce. Yeah, that's pretty good foam for a half an ounce. Next, we want to rinse this off. Then we'll apply the rinseless, do the rinseless contact wash. I have to say again, this Rogue soap is really good. Again, half an ounce. This is pretty amazing results for a half an ounce. That 32-ounce bottle is going to last you a really long time in comparison to some other soaps. So really, really good stuff. And it smells great too. It smells like the beach. But let's get this thing rinsed. All right, now that the foaming is done and we've rinsed it, we're gonna go ahead and throw some rinseless on here, but it does look pretty good even now. And you can still see that it is beating up. It's just sheets when you initially get that water on there. And we're gonna see if adding that clay towel, decontaminating it, maybe doing the water spot remover as well is gonna kind of get rid of all that. This is also gonna be my first time using this sprayer. I already have it loaded with the Clean by Pan Rinseless Wash. It's got a number of different tips. This one's kind of nice though. It's just so we get everything through here. It's nice and wide, which I kind of like, but they have a ton of different tips. So anyway, let's get this on here and clean the vehicle. For $38, it seems pretty good. Now, I'm not really worrying about the wheels today. I'm gonna do those a different day. So I'm really just concerned about the paint and the glass. The spray is really quiet. Seems to be doing a pretty good job though. You can also do wash clay seal with a full foam wash if you want. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just doing rinseless today because I do want to finish it with rinseless. All right, here we go. Let's get this thing washed pretty quick. I'm just on the verge of dripping and here we go. It's not windy today, so I'll go ahead and put these up. And I did wash this vehicle 2 weeks ago, I think it was. So it's fairly clean compared to what it normally is at least. But it has rained a ton here. The rinseless is also gonna act as a really good lubricant for the synthetic perforated towel. Not too hot out today. I should be able to do the whole car without having to respray it, but I can if I need to. If the sun were out, it would be a little bit slower process, but it's not bad today. So once I'm done, we'll come back and then we'll do the clay towel. All right, I got the rinseless done, but it's starting to dry on me, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some more on because I need that lubrication for the clay towel. But I was able to get it around just as it was starting to dry everywhere. I'm just gonna apply a little bit more, and then we'll do the synthetic perforated towel, or clay towel as people like to refer to it as. All right, clay towel is pretty easy. We're gonna go ahead and dunk it into the rinseless bucket that we've been using. It's still pretty clean, honestly. That water is not too bad. The biggest thing that's important about these is that you fold them into quarters and use it that way. You do not want the whole towel. And then just flip it every once in a while as you're going over everything. That's what's most important. Now the new DIY Detail perforated synthetic clay towel actually has 4 spots on it and makes it really easy and kind of makes you do that. So that'll be an interesting towel. Hopefully I'll get to try that someday. Dunk it to get it wet in the rinseless. All right, now that it's got rinseless on it, we can go ahead and it's just 1 spray in the towel and 1 spray where we're gonna be decontaminating, and that's it. The paint actually feels pretty good. Usually you can hear it be kind of crunchy and crusty, but I did do this last year, so that might be why it's not so bad. But I'm not hearing too much underneath the towel or feeling too much. It's feeling nice and smooth, which is what we want. This is glass up here too, so that might have something to do with it. I'm just gonna put a little bit more as we're heading back here. Doesn't need much. Back here I can feel a little bit more on the paint, but it's still pretty smooth. That's how you use a perforated synthetic towel. An iron remover. You can also just do this with Rinseless Wash if you don't need the iron remover or don't want to do the iron remover. Sometimes you don't need to do that. Like you don't necessarily need to use iron remover maybe more than once every 3 to 6 months, something like that. I'm gonna flip to a new side here. And we'll do each part. Now I'm outside, so it doesn't smell too bad either. This stuff does smell kind of like rotten eggs, but being outside helps with that. This does not scratch the paint, does not scratch the glass, especially since it's so well lubricated. That's just not gonna happen. Now, let's hit this door a little bit here. Now I might anticipate feeling some stuff towards the bottom of the door, down here. Yep, it's a little bit dirtier down here. I can feel it underneath the clay towel, so I just wanna go over that section with no pressure whatsoever until it doesn't feel like that anymore. There we go. That's good. We're not scratching, marring, doing anything to the paint with this. People might think that's the case, but it's not. This towel was designed not to do that. And that's pretty much it. Just gonna move around the car from here. You can see it does not take very long at all. So I'm gonna get the rest of this done, and then we'll see what it looks like after that. Oop, I can feel some stuff right here. Water spot remover is all done. And again, why would you do the water spot remover? This is a great time to get rid of as many minerals as you can off of your paint. I'm all done with the iron remover and the perforated synthetic towel. I'm now ready for some water spot remover. With that, we're just gonna apply that to a regular old microfiber towel and run it over the vehicle. I still want it to be wet though, so that's important. I may re-wet this one more time. But this, I'm just gonna throw in my rinseless wash bucket because that's all it needs to do. The water spot remover, you need to really rinse that out a lot before you wash it, because that doesn't play well with the rinseless and all the stuff that you're trying to keep off of these things. So wash that out really, really well before you were to launder it. So this is a rinseless dampened towel at this point. It's just damp. Low nap is fine. And all we're gonna do with the water spot remover is spray it on here really hard. Use one side the entire time. And that's pretty much it. Just wanna get a lot on there. Run it over the vehicle. And this is gonna feel very different from the clay towel and everything else. It's gonna feel a lot stickier, if you wanna put it that way. Then we're gonna rinse the vehicle. And when we do that, we should see how well this actually worked in a few of these areas that were really difficult before. So once that's done, I will come back and show you the results. Water spot remover is all done. And again, why would you do the water spot remover? This is a great time to get rid of as many minerals as you can off of your paint. If you're going to do the clay action, this only takes like another extra minute or two. And this is a really great step to unclog your coatings that you've put on, whether that is a spray or a full coating, that kind of thing. So Let's rinse it down and see how it does. Now remember, this does not go in the rinseless bucket. It needs to be rinsed really, really well before we launder it. So that's gotta go somewhere else. All right, especially up here, definitely major improvement in hydrophobics. My mom's car got into an accident. She was in a store and somebody backed into her here, and I think they may have actually polished all this and taken off the coating there. And that would be a pretty good reason why it's not working properly. But let's check and see if it's any better now. It's pretty good up here. But right in here, I'm guessing they polished all that and the coating is not on there anymore. Just to show you really quickly that this, where it hasn't been polished, is the way it should be. Back here, a little more sheeting, but not bad. Just to show again, remember how bad this was before, and now that's great. So I don't need to put a new coating on here. I just needed to unclog it. Hopefully that's a helpful tip for you. If you did put a coating on and you're seeing poor performance, you can get it to perform again. I'm gonna wash this all down. I'm gonna add rinseless to it one more time. Then I'm gonna go ahead and dry it because I'm gonna put that hot coat topping on it just because I want to, because I wanted to have something on there for as long as possible, protect what's here for as long as possible, since I'm not here to help her out all the time. So one last go around with the rinseless to dry. And as far as this rinseless sprayer goes, I'm pretty impressed with this for 38 bucks. The batteries lasted more than enough. I kind of thought it might run out, but it hasn't. The sprayer is really good here in the end, and it's got a bunch of other tips, which I haven't gotten to try necessarily, but I think, you know, this is doing a good job. So for $38, not a bad sprayer. Time to dry. And because this towel is so massive, this should go pretty nice and quick. Whew, that is a slick surface. Now she still has some water spots in her paint, and so you might say, well, isn't the water spot remover supposed to get rid of that? If they're etched into the paint, you're gonna get rid of the minerals that are there, but the water spots are gonna stay. There's really not much you can do about that unless you polish. And I don't wanna do that, so I'm not going to. I do think it still looks pretty darn good, even with a couple water spots here and there. And this Diva towel will hold a crap ton of water. All right, so I think it looks pretty darn good, but let's see what you think. So it's looking good. I don't need to put anything else on it because it's super hydrophobic, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw some Quivr hot coat on top just for fun. But it's looking like brand new, basically. But it's not brand new, and there are some spots that aren't perfect. Like, you know, there's some paint issues there, a little dent or some paint issues here. Looks like there may be some touch up or something. That's a high spot I left when I coated the vehicle a while back. But from even 3 feet away, you don't really see any of that. Maybe just a tiny bit depending on the reflection, but it looks really, really, really good. I think 90% of people would be very, very happy with this. But now let's do the Quivr hot coat and see what that's like. All right, so the Quivr hot coat instructions are really easy. It says to spray on a towel, apply in straight lines to make sure you have even coverage, and then buff off with another towel. So I have a towel to apply and a towel to buff off with. I picked one with a little bit higher nap for the buffing towel, and it should apply a little bit of hydrophobics back to the glass too, which will be nice for my mom. So that'll be cool. But let's see what this is like to apply, and we'll apply away from the vehicle. Put some good sprays on so we get some even coverage. And straight lines. So I have a little extra. I'm just kind of trying to get what I can out of the towel. I don't need a lot. It smells really good. It smells very tropical. And then buff off with a towel. Try to keep this one in quarters too if we can. Nice and smooth. This should bring a little bit of additional gloss in here too. This will put a temporary coating on your vehicle basically If you don't want to put a full ceramic on and you just do this every few months, your vehicle is going to look great. It's going to have some decent protection as well. Looks good. Now I'm just doing a quick crosshatch over the top just to make sure I've got some decently even coverage as well. Now it's not removing where I've done high spots in the past or anything like that. It looks like I got quite a few in the past, unfortunately. It's not removing water spots. It's not doing anything like that. It's just adding a level of protection for the paint and the glass in this case to make it a little more hydrophobic. It's going to enhance gloss as well. So even again, if you don't have a ceramic coating, it's going to enhance the gloss. And I can see that happening right now. In fact, it's looking quite good. Seems to buff off pretty nice and easy though. I'm not really seeing any high spots from this, but that's kind of what it looks like. Again, it's kind of a gray day, you can't tell, but it's very slick, very smooth. And a lot of extra gloss, I would say, even on top of what's already there. Let's try a little bit here on a windshield and see what that looks like. Doesn't seem like you need a lot to go a long way on this either. I'm gonna box this one a little bit. Now this is an area where I definitely wanted to get nice even coverage because I want to try to provide some hydrophobics here on the glass if I can. Very nice and slick and smooth. And if I get a chance to wash her car one more time before I leave, we'll check and see if this has added any decent hydrophobics to it at that point. I want to give it some time to cure. These usually need at least an hour to cure before you should get them wet. It can be as little as 10 minutes, but you want to give them as much time as possible. And I want to let it cure for at least a few days, a week before I'd wash it. That is very slick. I just want to see what it feels like on the other side. The other side is definitely not as slick. It goes on glass really nice and easy. Seems to be bringing out some really decent shine and gloss and deepness to the blacks as well, which is awesome. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this vehicle. I will come back when it's completely done and just go around one more time and wrap everything up. But that's all you need to do. All right, so how did the Quivr hot coat go on? Really easy. In fact, it was almost nothing to buff it off. So that's great. It's super slick. It's very, very, very slick to the touch now as well. So today you learned a little bit about how to revive a coating. If you have one on there, you want to see if it's time to put a new one on or not. And you also learned a little bit about the Quivr hot coat. If you never want to put a full ceramic coating on, this is a pretty good option. It's a great value in 32 ounces. This is, I mean, I used almost nothing in this bottle to do the entire vehicle from top to bottom. In the future, I definitely use it in the wheels as a spray on, rinse off. Also in the comments, let me know if you think the vehicle looks good or not. All right, well, it's been almost a week at this point since I washed my mom's vehicle last and put on that Quivr hot coat. So I just wanted to see if things were performing pretty well now or not with the coating. Part that was maybe starting to fail a little bit was more these lower panels here. So we'll see if the Quivr hot coat has made a difference there or not. So here we go, let's just check it out. And those are pretty darn good beads. Now I'm not running the pressure washer at the moment, but that's great beading. But you can see down here, still a little bit different performance than we get up on the top part here. Not bad. I mean, this lower part wasn't performing at all either, so that Quivr hot coat's doing a nice job. And if we try to flood the panel a little bit more, again, just right in here, that very bottom section, not quite as good, but still beating up pretty quickly after water gets on it. But up here, this is really good. And even in this section, it wasn't performing as well before. So I would say the results from the Quivr hot coat are really good. It's also rained and been really dirty. You can see that there's quite a bit of like pollen and stuff on the vehicle, but let's see if it's made any difference on the windshield. So if you remember on the windshield, this was pretty much gone. There was really no coating left. You can see it's beating up really well. So the Quivr hot coat is doing a great job on the windshield as well, and it's just beating up that water. And even when I try to add quite a bit to it, it's really not flooding at all. I guess the ultimate test would be back here where we know the only thing that's on here is the Quivr hot coat because my mom got into this accident. So let's just check that and see how that's performing. Okay, so that's fantastic. Remember, it did not perform well at all. This is just ejecting that water really, really well. A little bit less so again on this panel, as it changes angles, but it's doing a great job, and really good right up here, like awesome. Where it wasn't working very well here anymore, and I know there's none here because this is where they repainted it, and that's beating up really nice and quick and coming off there. So I definitely say if you put Quivr Hot Coat on like once a month or so, you're gonna get really good performance and not have to ever really ceramic coat your vehicle. It can be done in the sun. It worked really well. So anyway, that's the final performance for the Quivr Hot Coat after a couple of days and before a wash. And this is gonna be, you know, the worst case scenario. After the wash, it should perform a little bit better, but I'm pretty impressed. I am Josh B. You did another great job with this product as well. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, live your life in beta, and we'll see you next time.